Hi guys! Today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite web resources for when you're going through the EEOC process. Now, quick heads up, a couple of these are specifically for federal sector employees. You private sector folks may still benefit from checking them out, but the processes in the private and federal sectors are quite different, so beware. So now let's get into the resources. First, let's talk about tools. There are a ton of great online tools that can help you with your EEOC process. But today I want to talk about Dropbox. Cloud filing is a very convenient way to secure and share your evidence. And it's easy to set it up in a way that makes it simple and easy to search your evidence so that you can find specific information when you need it. I had a Dropbox folder for each one of my claims: failure to accommodate, retaliation, age discrimination, and so forth. And I have another video that goes into a little more detail about how I set up the file structure, so I'll link to that in the description if it's something you want to check out. 2. Forums. Good forums are hard to find. And if you're in the federal sector, there's one that I think everyone should know about: FedSoup. But there are a couple things you should know about it before you go there and start spilling your guts. First, and you won't hear me say this often, FedSoup isn't a place you want to be 100% open and honest. Be careful not to dox yourself. One of the regulars there is a NASA guy. I didn't know that at the time I was asking for help there, but luckily I was careful anyway not to share any unnecessary details about my situation. For instance, I talked about being a professional, not a scientist, and I talked about my agency, not NASA. Your agency could be there too, so try to remain as anonymous as possible. Now, the admin says that you'll get instant access if you post from a .gov address, but I registered with the personal email account that I didn't use for anything but my case. I had to wait a couple extra days to get verified so I could post, but to me it was more important to be anonymous than to get access right away. Another thing to keep in mind is that as helpful as these experts can be, they are not particularly sympathetic. So no matter what you say in this forum, expect to be challenged. But don't let that put you off using this as a resource. The challenge of being heard and getting help in this forum is a really good tester for the EEOC process itself. Hanging in the fight takes a lot of mental toughness, and if you don't have it already, these guys can help you develop it. 3. Information and education. There are a ton of great educational and informational sites online, but I have to give it up to EEOC for their website. The feature that I found most useful is a searchable index of current EEOC guidance. Here I found two types of EEOC documents that I use more than any others: EEOC compliance manuals and EEOC enforcement guidance. Compliance manuals are essentially EEOC's manuals for its investigators, which means if you read those, you'll have some idea what your investigator is going to be looking for and what you'll need in order to win your case. When you can't find a compliance manual that relates to your specific claims, the next thing I always check for was enforcement guidance. Enforcement guidance will tell you how EEOC interprets the law, including the current case law. So these documents will give you some idea about what EEOC administrative judges consider when they're deciding cases and awarding damages, for instance. My attorney used them as a kind of outline for the questions that she asked NASA witnesses at my hearing, and I used them a lot very early in my claims process to help me formulate a strategy for approving each of my claims. EEOC compliance manuals and enforcement guidance aren't the law, but they do contain a lot of insight about how EEOC interprets and enforces the law, so you can build a stronger case. 4. Social media. Again, there are a ton of social media sites where you can get advice on how to handle an EEOC claim. I'd like to recommend a Facebook group called Discrimination Law Advocates. It's one of a few places online where I've found that victims of discrimination can get some quick feedback or maybe some simple help. The regulars there include some accomplished civil rights attorneys and people like me who just want the discrimination to stop. Not everyone who goes there finds the help they need, but I've been in a lot of groups, and this one tends to be fairly responsive compared to most. 5. YouTube. Now, I'm glad you're here, but there are a lot of other resources on YouTube. For instance, there are a lot of employment attorneys. Now, here are a few of my favorites, and I put some more info about them in the description so that you can look them up on YouTube later. I also want to give a shout out to a couple of other great YouTube creators. First, the Coalition for Change, C4C. This group has some excellent speakers who pioneered the fight for racial equity in the federal workplace. They've fought discrimination battles of their own and have some excellent practical advice for people who are fighting similar battles now. There are a couple of their videos that I especially recommend watching, and I'll put links to those in the description. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to Greeland Kimbrough. I've linked to his channel in the description, and I recommend checking him out. He has a very clear, powerful voice that helps shape my perspective about social justice, including what justice should look like at EEOC. I really recommend you guys go check out some of these other sites. And if you find creators who are doing things that you like, give them a sub. I know I appreciate it. And I hope a few of the resources that I've shared can help you too. That's what it's all about, helping each other. So how about you guys? What online resources are you finding most useful? Share them in the comments section below so I can check them out. So that's it for now, guys. Till next time, hang in.